The federal minimum wage currently sits at $7.25 an hour and has not risen since 2009. Steve Kathan, CBS News.
The Dow from Stifel's up 99 points to 42,861.
Sun with a high of 82 this afternoon. Clear, low 64 tonight, then warmer with sun, high 90 tomorrow. Occasional haze and reduced air quality the next couple of days. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zayer on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning and Electrical. We've got sunshine 73 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
While you might not give a hoot about this week's space launch, you sure as sunshine care when your AC goes down. Well, good news, a Jerry Kelly per-producing tune-up is just 98 smackers right this very moment. $98.
JerryKelly.com.
This is the Gashouse Gang on 104.1 FM KMOX. Sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin comfort dealer. And by Anderson Hospital, a Newsweek World's Best Hospital. Now, the Gashouse Gang on KMOX.
Radio in St. Louis than what we do every Tuesday here on the Gashouse Gang when Cardinals manager Oli Marmol joins us for a unfiltered conversation. No Tom Ackerman this week, no Chris Ranji this week. I'm Matt Pauley. Bernie Miklasz is here. Oli Marmol is here as well. Fellas, thanks so much for taking the time. We always enjoy being able to do this.
No doubt. How's everybody doing?
Doing good. Tough one for you last night. Felt for you and everyone else, and including Ryan Helsley. But what a great comeback that was. And so at least you know your team is still going to conduct itself like the team we've come to expect.
Yeah, and that's exactly right, man. I can't think of many games where we haven't been in it, or you're sitting there watching, and you're like competing all the way through 9 innings. And yesterday was a good example of that. There's no business in winning that game the way we kind of approached the first 7 innings of that. But to be able to get that big hit by Herrera and take the lead, man, you give yourself a shot. It's more frustrating to lose it that way, but I love the way we're going about it, man. I really do.
It's a sports cliche sometimes about teams that never give up, but your team has shown that. What is it about the DNA of your club where it does feel like, it doesn't matter what has happened through the first 7 innings or whatever it might be, that your team continues to take those good at-bats and is going to give their best shot no matter what?
Man, we have the right group in that clubhouse. And when I say that, they really enjoy competing, and they enjoy competing with one another. They love the big moments. They're getting after it, man. And they're starting to create a culture and an identity around that. And once you show that, there's accountability of repeating it every day. And that's the fun part about the job, is you show the world what you're capable of doing, and then they expect you to continue to do it. And they're embracing that part of it. So I'm enjoying this group, man. They're very competitive, but they're also a loose group that just enjoys being out there. And you can see that in their style of play.
Oli, I want to talk to you about Ryan Helsley, but you know how I am. I like to explain my positions just so you understand me. To me, it's not about blown saves. And, like the so-called blown save in Kansas City, there was some bad batted ball luck, certainly Saturday against the Dodgers. I mean, a ground ball bangs off the second base bag. I mean, he struck out the side. So I don't really care about the blown save stuff. But here's the thing that troubles me watching him, that compared to last year, his four-seam fastball has just, the quality of it has just diminished. Now, I saw what you said last night, and I'm sorry for the long question, but I saw what you said after the game last night. You talked about how there were some things, and you guys reshaped it, and you put it behind you, and then, it was kind of don't look back. And then, you know what? That fastball was really good in May, but so far early in June, 6 for 8 against it with some power. So what's up with the fastball? Because obviously it's a huge pitch for him. He throws it 48% of the time or so.
Yeah, a combination of things. And I alluded to it last night in the postgame. The first couple weeks of the season, he wasn't right. Physically, I mean, health-wise, synced up and mechanically, like doing what he normally does in order for the fastball to have ride on it. And to be able to beat people at the top with it. So there are some things there that were addressed, and Dusty and that group did a really nice job with. And then we had May where he was more like himself, and that's the life of a reliever, especially a closer, because all eyes are on you, and when you don't get it done, it gets magnified, right? But there are some things with the fastball, and I mentioned it last night, man. When you throw 100, 102, you get away with a little bit more than the guy that's throwing 91, 92. But it's still a matter of getting ahead. When you fall behind guys, it's a little bit more predictable, and you can take your shot. So falling behind is a part of it, but also the locations of his pitches. And Denton asked this question last night. Yeah, the fastball, when you look at the location of it in 24 compared to 25, he's missing over the plate a little bit more. But it's not just the fastball; it's the location of that slider as well. And it's a combination of those two things that's not allowing for the same swing and miss that we saw last year, and the swing and miss on that slider as well. So there's some things that he's aware of. It's always high leverage in that role, so it's always going to be magnified, but he's aware of what he needs to do, and we're going to continue to get after it, because a couple of those yesterday, that ball's hit. All right, he crushed that ball. But some of the other ones, man, it's just CNI singles that get through, and one hits the base, and there's not a whole lot you can do about it. But the swing and miss, to your point, is something that we're working on.
Not to follow up. Yeah, go ahead, Bernie.
Can I ask a follow up?
Yeah.
Because you brought up like the importance of the counts and when he throws the four seam. And I was digging the numbers today, and the one thing that really jumped out at me, when hitters are ahead in the count, or even if they're like 2-2 in the count, and he throws them the four seam fastball, I'm not going to read you the numbers, but extensive damage is done to that pitch when he's throwing it when the hitters are ahead in the count, because they're looking for it, I think, right? And hitters 5-6 years ago, maybe 100-mile-per-hour velo would really bother a lot of hitters, but hitters adapt. They're kind of used to the heat now. So go ahead, in terms of how important the count figures into this.
Count is everything, and getting ahead is extremely important. You get more defensive swings. You can't eliminate pitches. You tend to chase more. So that definitely comes into play. But it's not just throwing 100, man. When you look at the vertical break compared to what it is now, man, he's throwing some 19s and 20s that really ride, and you can miss bats at the top of the zone. So location is going to play a part in this, and being able to miss up for more swing and miss is going to be important. But when you look at overall heat maps of where he's missing with both the slider and the fastball, there is a little bit of a correlation there as to why more contact is being made. Yeah.
Not to get too much in the weeds on this, and pitch sequencing is such a big deal. When you look at the overall numbers, the four-seam fastball has a 426 average against, the slider has less than 100 average against. Is it about making sure that slider is being thrown for strikes that allows you to have more success with the four-seamer?
Yeah, at times throwing it for strikes, but then being able to expand when needed and not missing over the plate when you're trying to go out. So it's a combination of things, and it's hard to just sit here and say that it's just one thing that's leading to it. Part of it is randomness and the position of being a closer, like I mentioned earlier, it being magnified. But there are some things that we are aware of, he's aware of, he's working on, and I would not be concerned with Helsley just being Helsley. There's going to be stretches that suck, and this is one of them. But I do think he's handling it extremely well.
Yeah, no doubt. I wanted to ask you about the offense. It's been down a bit, and I think a lot of it is like, when you have several key guys in your lineup, and maybe you want to say a cold spell or they're in a slump, it's kind of hard to muster the same amount of offense. But when you see some of the guys like Victor Scott, for example, even Lars Nootbaar recently, and Nato has times, even though you want him up there in a big spot, but even he has times where there's just not a lot happening. And I'm not trying to single out a few, because it's happening to quite a number of guys. But what do you see with them? Is fatigue an issue? Is it just mentally getting worn down? What do you see with some of the stuff going on with your guys?
Different for each guy. Like, I'll give Newt an off day today. Part of, like, he's been going hard. This is a guy that's answered the bell every single day, played double headers, all of it, right? But sometimes guys just need a little bit of a breather and a mental break. and he fits into that bucket. Where Victor Scott for me is a little bit more of an adjustment to the league. That they're adjusting to him. They're starting to spin him more. He's aware of what they're doing. He's doing a much better job of prepping for it. But yeah, each guy has their different thing, and unfortunately, there's times where 3 or 4 guys are not feeling great about where they're at, and it impacts the ability to score some runs. But this is expected with a young group, man. Like, we've done a really nice job, in my opinion, the players have in executing and being consistent and bringing their A game every day. But there's going to be times where these guys get figured out a little bit, and they're going to have to make adjustments. And your hope is that it all doesn't happen at the same time. But this is expected. Like Victor Scott, there's going to be ups and downs, and he's going to have to start to figure out what the league's doing to him and combat it. Newt, same thing. He understands what gets him in trouble when he gets pool happy and he's just trying to go poolside. So he's going to have to combat that too. It's a different answer for each guy. But this is part of 162 is getting them to understand it and then be a little bit more consistent with it.
And again, to your point that it's different for every guy, how often do you give a guy a day off and the idea is for him to just get off his feet and actually rest mentally, physically, emotionally, everything? And how often is it giving a guy a day off from the game so he can really get after it and work very hard in everything that they do in a pregame?
Yeah, it depends on the workload leading up to it. There's times where a guy just needs a break. He just needs to not put his cleats on, not think about baseball, not think about the pressures of the game, and just have a mental day of just chill. And there's times where you give a guy 1 or 2 back-to-back days off in order for them to get after it and really work on their craft and get back on track in order to kind of sustain a little bit more success. So it depends on the guy and the workload leading into it, and the personality of the player as well. But you try to stay on top of that as much as possible.
Yeah, Nolan Gorman is an interesting topic because, whether you take his last 13 games or his last 9 games, his numbers are really good. Yeah, the strikeout rate a little high, but obviously he seems to have a better idea up there, and he's doing some damage. Now, the question is, how are you going to find ways to play him more? And one of the things I'm kind of stuck on, and I'm just telling you up front, there was a time, the 2023 season, in the first 6 weeks, or I should say about the first 8 or 9 weeks of 2024, he was doing great against left-handed pitching, and then it all kind of fell apart on him, and he had to rebuild everything. But is there a time where you think you're going to use him more against left-handed pitching? Because isn't that the only way he's going to grow to get better against them?
Yeah, it is, but at the expense of who, right? Like, I mean, if you look at our lineup at the moment, you can build an argument for, hey, just throw him in there against lefties and don't worry about using the bench. Give this kid as many at-bats as possible, which, like, he's in there again today, and we're going to continue to find at-bats for him. So I can build an argument for both sides of that. We had an opportunity the other day, and we chose to go Burleson against Kershaw. And he took some really good swings against him, right? So, like, that'd be an opportunity for Gorman. The reality is Burleson's swinging it pretty well right now. So you got to play that hand. So you're constantly choosing kind of which direction you want to go there. So yeah, there is opportunity even left on left for him. Because to your point, in 23, he did a really nice job. And you look at that series, we went into Washington, I believe, last year when they had this row of lefty starters, and we played him there, and he did a really nice job against them as well. So it's not that he can't hit lefties. We'll mix and match and give him the best chance. You look at that little guy that threw yesterday. I mean, Newt and Donnie took at bats against him. They're pretty good, patient, disciplined hitters, and they both chase like crazy against him. That's a really, really tough left on left at bat. So we'll pick our spots for him, but that's not to say that he can't start against lefties. I don't disagree at all, Bernie.
Our conversation with Oliver Marmol is sponsored by Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. We see those comments coming in. We'll get to some of those. You can text in as well at 314-436-7900. This is moving quick. We'll take a break, come back with more with the Cardinals manager, Oliver Marmol, in just a moment. It's the Gashouse Gang on KMOX.
Spring into a new home with amazing savings at TR Hughes. Hi, I'm Jason Hughes with TR Hughes Homes, and we are currently offering half off up to $40,000 in options and up to $5,000 in closing costs on brand new to-be-built homes at select TR Hughes communities. That's right, half up to $40,000 in options and up to $5,000 in closing costs. Visit trhughes.com for details.
The choice of a home builder is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
However, you really should visit trhughes.com.
Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler for Supplement Superstores. And look, I've been a customer of theirs since 2013, and there's a reason for that. Supplement Superstores is the best. They are always on the cutting edge of science, so when they find better products, that's what they work with. And they also have the best people. All of the employees at Supplement Superstores are certified sports nutrition specialists and personal trainers. So they'll work with you to build a simple eating plan and workout routine that fit your goals. And by the way, they do that for free. So to find your Supplement Superstores location and get started down your path to success, go to supplementsuperstores.com.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
A few years ago, CTV was a buzzword. Now it's your most important channel, while your current DSP is still playing catch-up. Viant's been leading CTV from the start, delivering real results across the world's most premium streaming content, viewed by real consumers, backed by real reporting. With AI-driven optimization, people-based targeting, and inventory from the biggest names in entertainment, Viant doesn't just reach audiences, it moves them. Viant, where premium streaming meets performance. Visit ViantInc.com/CTV to unlock real results today.
Tonight, the Cards, the Blue Jays.
Ameren Total Access 550.
Cardinals Radio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
He swings and hits a drive down the left field line toward the pole. It's a gunner for Herrera. My goodness, that was out of here quick as a hiccup.
Alongside of Bernie Miklas, I'm Matt Pauley. It's the Gashouse Gang, our weekly conversation with Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol, sponsored by Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. Oli, I talk to fans every single night after the game, and I think one of the questions I'm getting a lot of right now is connected to Ryan Vilade, and this goes back to what we were just talking a moment ago with Nolan Gorman. You could have Donovan in the outfield and have Gorman at second, so you had Vilade start 3 straight games, I understand, all against left-handers. But can you talk us through kind of your thought process in having Vilade out there, specifically opposed to giving Gorman more opportunities against those lefties?
I actually, and you guys could argue with me on this. I'd love to. When you look at the camp and the at-bats that Vilade has taken, spring training and then in AAA, I actually like his at-bats. It's a professional at-bat. It hasn't looked good up here. I'll agree there. But this is a guy that actually takes a really good at-bat. And unfortunately, it hasn't panned out for him in the limited time that we've given him up here. So it's easy to argue, hey, just throw Gorman in there. But this is also about Donovan. This guy's having an all-star season at second base, and the consistency of him playing there is also important, right? He's been a big part of our defense. So you start shuffling guys around, and you mess with that consistency to some degree. So Donnie will be in left today. Gorman will be at second. And we'll do it from time to time. But part of this is also just keeping the consistency of our infield, because that's been a really good part of our season. And Donnie's done a tremendous job there. So I'm trying not to kind of swing him around too much. Yeah.
There's another question is in the wind, and it's going to stay there. And by the way, and this also involves Andre Palante. And as you know, I've been all over him and questioning why McGreevy wasn't in that spot, just so, I don't try to run away from my opinions, but
yeah,
I got to say Palante last night showed us all something, because that thing could have imploded on him and he fought through it. And I have a lot of respect for what he did last night. Now, that said, just in terms of McGreevy, and I've read what you've told the other media, and first of all, sending him down now so you can fortify your bullpen, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
But how soon do you see him having a semi-regular role in your rotation?
Man, I'll start with this. I love McGreevy being up here. I do. I like a lot of things about him, his personality, his overall demeanor, and him on the mound. Like I like having this dude up here. He has provided us depth, and going into the season, we knew exactly what we needed out of our starting rotation, and then how we would kind of bounce back and forth with Mats, and then from time to time with McGreevy. Um, Luckily, we've stayed healthy, and not many teams have been able to stay healthy through this part of June with their rotation and their bullpen. We have. So when you look at Palante, I'll mention a couple things. You're going to live and die with the ball in play. Okay, so there's going to be outings where you're incredibly frustrated, and I hear the fans, and man, why is he up? This guy is going to pitch to his strengths. Yesterday was a perfect example of it. They string 3 hits together for a run there early on, and then he shuts them down in a lot of contact right at people, and he gives you a very, very quality. Like, that's exactly what we needed out of him yesterday. So with Palante not being here, the argument is he has nothing to work on. He's not going down to AAA to work on a pitch. He's not going down there to work on executing anything. What he's working on is big league hitters adjusting to him. So as soon as he's not here, he can cut through a AAA lineup in a heartbeat. They're not going to take good swings off of Palante. So what we need to find out is, as the league adjusts to him and as right-handed hitters continue to adjust to him, is he able to combat that? And at the end of this year, we need to figure out yes or no. But sending him down for the sake of sending him down, that's not the move. And I can argue that as much as you guys would like. Would I like McGreevy up here? Yes. Can we afford to be on a 6-man with a short pen? No. The guys that were down yesterday, we need to protect our bullpen as much as we need to protect our rotation, and we've done a very good job of both. So at some point, I'd love to have him up here for multiple starts where it's not just a spot start. When? I'm not exactly sure how that's going to pan out, but my hope is to do that at some point this year. It really is.
Palante's had a fair amount of hard contact. When the soft contact are ground ball outs, he works around the hard contact without a problem. When the soft contact finds its way through, that's when runs start to score. Is that just something you have to kind of live with?
It is. And I'll tell you this, if you give McGreevy a long shot up here, like, there's going to be adjustments made on him from the left side as far as left-handed hitters, and he's going to have to adjust to that over time. So that's just part of being a big leaguer, man. Like, you have some success, then they figure you out, and you got to flip. I'm looking forward to the day that's the case, but for the time being, our guys are healthy and they're doing their jobs, and we're going to continue to run them out there and stay on course.
Yeah, you and Dusty Blake have done a great job keeping your pitchers healthy, your starting pitchers healthy. I was doing a piece on the Dodgers and all the breakdowns by starting pitchers everywhere. And, we can quibble about who is in there or maybe who's not in there, but your starting pitchers are healthy. They're efficient. They give you – you're like 3rd or 4th in the majors in terms of average innings per start, but yet pitches per start, you're down there near the bottom. So isn't there a benefit in a way to having a pitch to contact staff? And I know Sonny Gray's not like that, but it leads to a more efficient outing, and maybe that's part of preserving their health.
At times. Just because you live and die off of ball and play, right? And at times you do need a little bit of swing and miss, and it is beneficial to have your guy that can go out there and miss some bats, right? So, but I will say, man, I really do feel like we're maximizing what we have at the moment, and our rotation has done a really nice job of using what they have and navigating some tough lineups and giving us some length and allowing our bullpen some rest. Man, I'm proud of our rotation and our pen. I think they've done a phenomenal job.
How challenging is it when, look, you need fresh arms up sometimes. So sometimes a guy gets a demotion, not because they did anything wrong, but just because they pitched and you need a fresh arm. How tough are those conversations when you tell a guy, hey, you did your job, but you're back to Memphis?
Yeah, sometimes it sucks. With McGreevy, he's such a good dude. Like, he knows the role. We've communicated very clearly to him what the plan is. So that one's a little bit easier because he knows, hey, I'm doing my job. I'm doing what's best for the team. And at some point, this won't be the case. I'll be up here for a long time. So the conversations with McGreevy have been fairly easy. But part of that is communicating ahead of time what that role looks like. So he's handled it very, very well.
Oli, I wanted to ask you about a guy, and some of our viewers and listeners, and we read all the comments. I've had at least two people bring up Andre Granillo. Now, I realize he's not on the 40-man, and that's always a little bit of an obstacle, although, frankly, I maintain it wouldn't be all that hard to clear a spot for him in the 40-man. But he is putting up sick numbers in Memphis, and I know it's AAA, but listen, man, you get a 43% strikeout rate. You got my attention. So when is he going to get a shot? Because you can never have enough good relievers.
He's got my attention as well. He's doing a really nice job, man. And here's the thing. He's not, sometimes you're down there and you're getting a lot of chase and people are swinging and missing out of the zone. This guy's getting swing and miss in the zone and out of the zone. And for that reason, man, I'd love to see at some point how it translates up here. Yes, he's not on the 40-man. We'll have to do something there. So that's a conversation above me. But he definitely has opened up some eyes from the staff down there. We get to kind of see the video and the reports up here. And at some point, it'd be very interesting to see kind of what he can do at the big league level. But yes, that can be exciting.
Last question from me for the day. Ryan Fernandez, up until his most recent appearance at AAA, had given up just 1 run in 7 outings. The strikeout numbers looked really good as well. What are you seeing, and how close is he to maybe being able to contribute to the big league bullpen again?
Yeah, there's some things that they're still working on with the fastball and just what the fastball is actually doing in order for there to be more consistency with the swing miss and how that plays with the slider. So there's work being put in. He's going to continue to work. His last outing wasn't great, but prior to that, to your point, he's done a nice job. So we need to stay on track there. And the way we are keeping our pen fresh is with a little bit of that Memphis shuttle of guys coming up and providing some multiples for us. And if we need to flip them, we do. So at some point it'll be his turn. But until then, he needs to stay kind of head down, working on what's going to give him the most consistency once he's up here at the big league level.
I had one more question about a young reliever, and I'm kind of picking up on some stuff that you said yesterday. You know, Takeo Roby turned heads at spring training. He was great at AA. He was just promoted to AAA. I mean, when he's one step away, it doesn't seem like it's exactly a big leap to see him in a Cardinal uniform at some point. Do you think it's probable that he'll have a role in your bullpen or your rotation in some capacity this year?
Man, hard for me to answer that question because, again, we're talking about decisions that have kind of long-term effect here. But I will say he was one of the most impressive pitchers in spring training, not only because of the firepower and what's coming out of the hand, but his demeanor, how he prepared, the questions he would ask. Man, there's a certain poise to him and confidence to him that's fun to watch. I like being around it. And the conversations I had with him in spring were just impressive. So at some point it'd be really cool to have him. But that's what's exciting, right, Bernie? Like you have these young hitters right now that are going to have their ups and downs, but they're showing you what they're capable of doing. And then you have these pitchers that are young in our system that can miss some bats and are showing that they can be promising arms. So the combination of that is exciting. If I'm a Cardinal fan, man, there's something to hope for here, and it could be fun to watch for several years.
It's the quickest half hour.
Here comes JJ Weatherholt. He's making his move now. I know that I'm just teasing. That's not imminent, but you already got enough. You got enough left-handed middle infielders or infielders. So, but it's fun to see a guy start to put up huge numbers. Anyway, that's all. It
is, and that's a mentally tough kid. Another guy that's just, for his age, he seems way more mature and understanding of the game. So there's a decent amount to be excited about, man.
Hey, Oli, we really appreciate you taking this time, especially after a tough one last night. Thank you, and I guess we'll see you at the ballpark later this afternoon.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
See you.
Awesome.
Thank
Very
you.
good. That's Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol here on the Gashouse Gang, and we really appreciate him taking a few moments. Bernie sticking around. I'm sticking around. We got more of the Gashouse Gang coming up in just a moment right here on your home for the Cardinals, 104.1 FM KMOX.
When you want a brand new kitchen, there's nothing to it. There's a brand new way to do it. 3-day kitchen and bath.
Here's another satisfied customer of 3-Day Kitchen and Bath, Anita Bennett.
When I first heard about 3-Day Kitchen and Bath, I thought, there's no way they could do a good job in 3 days, and they must carry only the plain Jane basics in cabinets, countertops, and flooring. Then they came to our house, and we found out they offered top-quality materials with tons of choices and lots of custom options. They worked with us to design a bathroom that was perfect for our family. They looked at our needs and thought of details I hadn't even considered. The installation was clean, thorough, and professional, and they were done in just 3 days. When we got back from the hotel, I couldn't believe the difference. The bathroom is beautiful.
See us on the web at 3daykitchen.com.
It's about time.
3 days or less.
At 3-Day Kitchen and Bath.
It's a warm one today, sunny skies. We are approaching a high of 82 tonight, clear low of 62, and tomorrow sunny with a high of 90. Currently in downtown St. Louis, 76 degrees.
Brought to you by Visit Missouri.
Golf in Missouri, the courses are so close, you'll spend more time on the fairway than the freeway. After the back nine, enjoy our world-class dining and distilleries, shops and spas, museums, and more. Find your new golf MO at visitmo.com.
Named one of Newsweek's world's best hospitals for 2025, Anderson Hospital is your hospital for life, delivering exceptional, compassionate care to families across the Metro East. From emergency services to specialized treatments, our dedicated team supports your health at every stage. Experience world-class care close to home. Discover the difference at andersonhospital.org.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call the Lance Story Law Firm today and let us get between you and the IRS. We'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney team who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, D-R-U-R-Y, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Get so munch more with the new T-Pain Munchie Meal at Jack in the Box, including your choice of burger or chicken tater melt, plus curly fries, a taco, drink, and new stuffed cookie. Auto-tune not included.
A few years ago, CTV was a buzzword. Now it's your most important channel, while your current DSP is still playing catch-up. Viant's been leading CTV from the start, delivering real results across the world's most premium streaming content, viewed by real consumers, backed by real reporting. With AI-driven optimization, people-based targeting, and inventory from the biggest names in entertainment, Viant doesn't just reach audiences, it moves them. Viant, where premium streaming meets performance. Visit ViantInc.com/CTV to unlock real results today.
At California Psychics, we know some people can't read the career warning signs, like your boss still not knowing your name.
You, Tina, Lisa, Sheila, whatever. Get that report to me by lunch, okay? It's Carrie, ma'am. Just get it done, Terry.
So talk to California Psychics and receive the career guidance you need. We only connect you with the very best, so guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. California Psychics. Call 1-800-PREDICT today and get 20 minutes for just $20.
If you're trying to sell a home, there's only one agent in town that I trust, Mark and Neil Gelman of eXp Realty. My friends Mark and Neil have the best system to connect you to the best qualified buyers, getting your home sold fast and for top dollar. 314-336-1991. Go to thegelmanteam.com.
Tonight,
The Cards, the Blue Jays.
Ameren Total Access 550.
Cardinals Radio, 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's the Gashouse Gang. We are sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, SaligaHeatingandCooling.com. Alongside of Bernie Miklas, I'm Matt Pauley. We just got done with Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol for the last half hour or so. Tell you what, Bernie, I know you do this every week with Tom and Ron, but pretty darn cool that the Cardinals manager is willing to do that and take tough questions. And it's really good for Cardinals fans to hear those answers.
Just on a personal or even a professional level, the one thing about Oli that I've always respected is that he never shies away from if you have a question that is basically a form of criticism, because you're sort of asking, well, why don't you do this, or why don't you play Gorman more, why don't you? He never, I've worked around people that just get very defensive and very overly sensitive and very thin-skinned. He's not like that at all. He's very good about absorbing the heat, and that's a big quality for a manager. And when he's on here, listen, man, just like when I'm with him at Busch Stadium or we have coffee, whatever, I mean, I try to show him respect. See, a lot of fans think that asking tough questions is like screaming at the manager and calling him an idiot or something. And listen, I did a video this morning on Nolan Gorman over at STLSportsCentral.com. I'm plugging that because the name's changed. And I said, although the headline was a little strong because I wasn't like roughing up Oli in the thing, but I still don't get why they're holding him back so much. Because Matt, and I'm going to give you credit here, because you pointed this out to me earlier, and it reminded me of what Gorman did against left-handed pitchers there for a while. So can I read this real quick?
Yeah.
From the start of the 2023 season through the end of the first week of start of the 2023 season through the end of the first week in June of last season, he had a 338 on base percentage, a 477 slugging percentage, and an 814 OPS against left-handed pitchers. He fell apart. He lost all of his confidence. The hitting coach at the time had no idea what he was doing, especially to fix a guy like Gorman. So he had to go back to the minors. But it's not like we haven't seen Nolan Gorman do a good job against left-handed pitching. We know he's capable of it because what I just put out there, that's about 150 plate appearances, tells us he is capable of doing a good job against them. But and that's where, I appreciate what Oli had to say, and we disagree with this, and that's fine. But I don't see how he gets better if he never plays, or if he really rarely plays against left-handed pitchers.
Yeah, I 100% understand what Oli's saying when he talks about the value of having some consistency on the infield when the infield defense has been as good as it's been, and that's why they try to keep Brendan Donovan at second more often than not. At the same time, though, when starting Ryan Vilade for 3 straight games because you want to make sure that Donovan is at second for those 3 straight games, you're giving up one thing to give up another, and those are the type of really tough decisions that the manager has to make. But when you openly lament the fact that you're not getting enough opportunities for Gorman, it felt like 1 or 2 of those games was maybe that opportunity.
Yeah, and by the way, just for the record, now some people, I think in the KMOX audience, a lot of people don't like advanced metrics. Okay, whatever. Just like I've been having dental surgery recently. You're going to say, where are you going with this, Bernie? Well, I kind of like the advanced methods that my dentist has to fix a serious problem, rather than when I was like in 1974 or something. So baseball is like the only thing in the world, it seems, where people resent the fact that there's progress in understanding performance. But so now that I've made that speech, let me say this. Nolan Gorman's hardly played any second base at all relative to Brendan Donovan. But if we believe in advanced metrics, and I know the Cardinals will quote these things when they're good, Gorman's got as many defensive runs saved as Donovan at second base this year, and he is +1 outs above average where Donovan is neutral. So I don't see Gorman as some like hopeless stiff trying to play second base. He's done a pretty good job there this year.
Yeah, I feel like Gorman makes the bad air occasionally when he's at second or third, but in terms of just looking good out there more often than not and actually making some high-level plays, I'm not an eye test guy, but I'll tell you what, watching Nolan Gorman play second and third over the last 2-3 years, I think he does a better job out there than he gets credit for.
He does, because he's not the most graceful guy, and he's a big guy, so it doesn't look – it's like Jeff Kent. when he started playing second base for the Giants. People were just like, he's too big. He's not quick enough. And it's just people go by the way a guy looks a lot of times. When you think of second base, right, in St. Louis, you think of Colt Wong, scrappy, quick guy, fast. Fernando Vina, scrappy, quick guy, runs fast, not all players are built alike. And just because some guy's a little big to play second base, at least based on tradition, it doesn't mean he can't play second base. I think a lot of it is stereotyping. I really do. But he's got to play. And listen, this offense since around the middle of May has really gradually shut down. They need an infusion of offense. And Gorman, based on what he's done the last 13 games, the last 9 games, he's a guy that's capable, now that he's made improvement with Brant Brown, he's a guy that's capable of infusing that offense at a time they really need it.
And the clock's ticking, Bernie, because there's no reason to think that this team's going to be able to move Nolan Arenado. That contract looks less and less movable by the day. They're not going to want to pay somebody else or pay him to go play for somebody else. Thomas Jaycee's a big leaguer right now, and he doesn't have a spot. And J.J. Weatherholt is probably competing for a job in spring training next year. The opportunity for Gorman to position himself to be a long-term member on this roster, there's not a long shelf life on that. Well,
right. And you have Chaim Bloom taking over, and we've all talked about it here on KMOX. The Cardinals, as usual, have a logjam of a certain type of player. In this case, it's left-handed hitting infielders, right? And outfielders for that matter. So you can't keep them all. You can't play them all. We're seeing that firsthand this year. You can't play them all, which is why Gorman sits so much. Well, I got to use the Cardinals' words about them, against them, I should say. Use the words against them. If they're going to tell us all winter, it's like, well, it's really, really important to find out about these guys. We got to find out about these guys. Well, how are you going to find out about Gorman if he doesn't play? And what, then you put Chaim Bloom in a situation where, in theory, he decides to trade Gorman because Gorman's not getting many opportunities here. And then what? Then when he hits 40 home runs, then what? It's just, you got to find out more about him. You just have to. And you know what? You got to find out if he can hit left-handed pitchers, at least in a solid, respectable way. He doesn't have to be great. But again, I saw him do it over about 150 plate appearance stretch. You can't give up on him doing that. I don't understand the thinking there.
I have to chuckle at this comment we just got from Verlis. We're sitting here talking about the fact that there's no room for Nolan Gorman and Thomas Jaycee's at AAA. As good as Cesar Prieto has looked in spring training the last couple of years, no, there is no look coming for Prieto at the big league level.
And he's having a good year again in Memphis. But there's just it's what I mean. They have a glut of those kind of guys. So another left-handed hitting infielder, right? Where are all the right-handed bats? That's why my new rallying cry is like, come on, Joshua Baez. I wouldn't know what to do, like a right-handed power bat, that you can put in the outfield. And Jordan Walker can develop into that guy too. But the Cardinals are just, when they're left-handed hitting, outfielders aren't hitting. Ooh, this offense does not look good.
That's Bernie Miklasz. I'm Matt Pauley. Bernie, before we go any further, would you like to tell us about our friends over at Saliga?
You got it, my friend. Saliga Heating and Cooling's been taking care of St. Louis since 1927. The same family, Saligas, 4 generations of them. Shout out to Dan Saliga, owning and operating the business right now. And listen, we've been a Saliga family for 16, 17 years. They've been great. That's why I'm always proud to represent Saliga Heating and Cooling, because here's what I can tell you about them, because we know they've been in our home many times. We've relied on them for a long time. And you know what we also rely on? Their standard of honesty and knowledge and professionalism and class inside your home and prompt service. And this Daikin Comfort dealer, we have found, Saliga will, rather than say, oh, yeah, you need to buy a boiler or something. No, they'll say, wait, hold on now. You don't need to do that now. You can get another 3 years out of it. And when the time comes, we'll tell you. And we trust them, because they could have sold us a boiler right then and there. But they said, no, you don't have to do that. So, that's really important, to find someone you can trust in this business. And they are that. Dan Saliga and his crew will take great care of you. And one other thing about it, I recommend the Priority Club, and I recommend it because we are in the Priority Club. It's a maintenance plan that's going to help you save money by extending the life of your current equipment through regular maintenance checks about twice a year. You also get priority scheduling. You have the comfort and peace of knowing everything's safe and ready for whatever season it is. To find out more about that, anything at Saliga, go to SaligaHeatingandCooling.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. One question I'm always asked is, how did you become the largest injury firm in the world with over 1,000 attorneys and $25 billion in verdicts and settlements? One way was our financial strength. Medical malpractice is the third leading cause of death in America. To prosecute a typical case costs up to $250,000 in case cost. We advance them all. Product liability cases can have similar costs with an army of lawyers on the other side. Automobile insurance companies have the resources to fight. Guess what? So do we. Many law firms simply may not have the financial firepower to work up your case the way you deserve. And we don't charge by the hour. No recovery, no fee. If you have a question about your case or wish to become a client, go to forthepeople.com on your mobile device or computer. 24/7. It's that easy. Morgan & Morgan. Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
On the Chris and Amy Show, we're launching 100 Acts of Kindness because apparently honking less in traffic doesn't count as charity.
We're teaming up with Jerry Kelly Heating and Cooling to prove kindness doesn't have to cost a dime.
Hold the door, say thank you, help your neighbor take out their trash without throwing yours in first.
No grand gesture required, just small, simple acts of human decency. We believe in you.
Join us and share your stories with hashtag 100KindActs.
Kindness, it's like a group hug without the awkwardness.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/deal. That's leaffilter.com/deal.
Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler for Supplement Superstores. And look, I've been a customer of theirs since 2013, and there's a reason for that. Supplement Superstores is the best. They are always on the cutting edge of science, so when they find better products, that's what they work with. And they also have the best people. All of the employees at Supplement Superstores are certified sports nutrition specialists and personal trainers. So they'll work with you to build a simple eating plan and workout routine that fit your goals. And by the way, they do that for free. So to find your Supplement Superstores location and get started down your path to success, go to supplementsuperstores.com.
Straight Realty has always been an industry leader when it comes to commissions, so it should come as no surprise that the recent Realtor settlement has only empowered us to continue offering our sellers even better rates. We now list homes for only 2%. Hi, I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. Call me, 314-441-4444. Why pay more than 2? You can also listen to my podcast on my website, straightrealty.com.
Commissions are not regulated and are negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
Now, back to the Gashouse Gang, sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling and by Anderson Hospital on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Just a few minutes left on this edition of the Gashouse Game, sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, SaligaHeatingandCooling.com. I'll be back with you for Redbird Rush Hour tonight for about 45 minutes, 5 to 5:45, leading into our network coverage of the Cardinals and the Blue Jays tonight. Alongside of Bernie Miklasz, I'm Matt Pauley. Bernie, we talked a lot with Oliver Marmol about Ryan Helsley. I think it's absurd, the people who thought that Helsley had no business pitching last night, back-to-back blown saves. I got a lot of that on the post-game show last night.
Seriously, what the hell's wrong with people? Seriously.
So, absurd. We both agree, absurd. And what we talked about today with Oli was that four-seam fastball. And we mentioned some of the numbers. Batting average against the four-seamer this year, 426. He's been a little bit unlucky. Expected batting average 343, but even 343 is way, way too high expected batting average against the four-seamer. So while it's absurd to think that Helsley shouldn't have pitched last night, what's not absurd is trying to figure out what in the world's going on.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, and I'm writing about a column about this with some great factual information on Helsley. He's still a really good pitcher, but for him to be what they want him to be, and we're a little greedy, he has to be a great pitcher. Like he's got a good fastball, solid fastball, but last year was a great fastball, and it's really impacted his performance. But I've never understood the mentality. And listen, I'm a fan, and I've been a fan who gets overcome by emotion and anger. I get the impulse. I just don't understand when you have a guy that saved 49 out of 53 opportunities last year, had one of the great seasons in the history of Cardinals baseball. The guy has gone through some rough periods this time, and what? He's a disposable item. Oh, you got to shake this up. Shake it up with who's the closer? All these baseball geniuses. Who's the closer then? Tell me who the closer is. Who you got down there is better than Ryan Helsley in that situation. And this is coming from a guy, me, that is very concerned about the loss of effectiveness of his four-seam fastball. But he's still better than anybody they got as an option. And I don't want to hear Kyle Leahy. I love Kyle Leahy. But he does not have the swing and miss and the strikeout stuff that we saw for the first couple months of the season, or the first 6 weeks of the season. So all you geniuses out there, who is the closer if it's not Helsley? And let me tell you an answer that's unacceptable. Well, they got to trade for a closer. No, that's not an acceptable. Right now, all you people, all you Sparky Andersons out there that want Helsley out of there, oh, you can't bring him in. Who are you going to bring in to save a game? I mean, this stuff, everyone's entitled to their opinion, and fans have a right to get emotional. But some of this stuff is just so absurd. I don't even know why I let it bother me, because it's actually kind of funny.
Yeah, and yesterday Helsley's velo was right where you want it to be. Maxed out 101.9, was sitting 99.8 on the fastball the entire time. I've mentioned this before, going back to my time in Milwaukee. Every year, Josh Hader would go through like a 2-week period where he was terrible. Home run, home run, home run, home run, home run. Like just terrible. And then it would just end and he'd be Josh Hader again. Like that happens. That's baseball. And okay, you know what? Even if Ryan Helsley blows another one, he's going to come out of this at some point in time. But again, trying to figure out why exactly the four-seam fastball is getting hit, that is also something that can be looked at.
Yeah, and then on the other side of the spectrum, and I'll be brief on this, Matt, sorry, are the people, including, frankly, some in the media, where they downplay this issue with this four-seam fastball. The numbers on this are just profound. They're absolutely glaring. So, are people capable of being, kind of in the rational middle? Yeah, no one of sound mind is saying it, like junk Ryan Helsley, but I don't understand the people, including some in our business, that are like acting like this problem with his four-seam fastball. Oh, what is that? That's nothing. He'll be all right. No, how do I know that? They got to fix it somehow. And that doesn't make me the devil or anybody the devil, because we bring it up and say we think it's a pretty important flaw right now, and they've got to find a way to rectify it.
I'll finish with this. The batting average against the four-seamer this year, 426. 2024, it was 276. 2023, 150. 2022, 279. So, I mean, we've never seen this from him. Bernie, this was fun. Thank you so much for this.
Great to work with you as always, Matt Pauley. Thank you.
That's Bernie Miklasz. I'm Matt Pauley. I'll be back with you tonight for the Redbird Rush Hour alongside of Kevin Wheeler. Thanks so much to Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol for spending a half hour with us today. Thank you for being tuned in. Cardinals baseball tonight. They match up against the Blue Jays. The Dave Glover Show. It is on the way next right here on your home for the Cardinals, 104.1 FM KMOX.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money